guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Goodcast Show. Today I'm very excited. I have my guest today. He is one of the most prolific names in the Malaysian political scene. He began his career in Suaram. Then he joined Parti Rakyat Malaysia, only to go on to be one of the founding members of Parti Rakyat. He served as Vice-President of PKR and its Information Chief. He was also the Member of Parliament of Batu from March 2008 to May 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yang Berhormat Chua Tian Chang, better known as Tian Chua. How are you, sir?
Hi. Okay. I'm good.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that to come up to your show.
Yes. As I was telling you, I have to thank you again. Thanks to you, I've scored some brownie points with my in-laws. So when I go back next weekend, I'll be very popular. Now, in doing research for this interview, there are many pictures of you on Google Images, many of which are you being carried away by police, by FRU and all that in your, I guess, your social activists and your reformist ways. One of them, pictures, became the iconic picture to become the symbol of the Reformasi movement of you sitting in front of a water cannon FRU truck.
Yeah, okay.
I cannot imagine just how difficult your life must have been as a social activist and a reformist. So I think to myself, why did you choose this life for yourself?
Okay, I mean, you don't choose life. Actually, life chooses you, but you make stand. And as time goes, every time you have to make a stand, you make the stand for what you believe it is right. So, and then you make it into your life. So, I mean, you don't say you choose a life to be activist, you choose a life to be what. But I don't do that. I mean, maybe some people do, but I think that the key is at every circumstances, every moment, ones have to make a decision which side you stand with and whether you are doing the right thing. So I think that's basically about it.
Okay.
To assert the right to freedom of assembly, to assert our right to speak out, to protest, that is our right.
Yes.
Right? So if that require confrontation, that require some sort of sacrifice, so-called, so be it. So I think that's why it happened. And during the Reformasi years, it was a very extraordinary time to force for change or to create what's it called, way for change. We have to do the extraordinary things.
Yes,
so
you did.
That's all.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Now, you just said, one thing about you never back down from a fight. You, when I heard your speeches, they are, especially the one that I'm going to come to now at the 28th PKR National Congress, where you stood up in front of everyone and you voiced that, you valiantly stood up. You said, you called some of the PKR members apple polishers. Which a powerful term. You basically told them that they should focus on making the party as a leader in social and political reform, as opposed to just supporting Anwar Ibrahim and become a vehicle for him. Now, before I get to my question, because this is a point of curiosity for me, what made you make that speech, knowing that you would get such negative response?
No, I think it's necessary because PKR is on its way to become the ruling parties. PKR is the largest party at that time. We were part of the ruling coalition, and the party, of course, lack of one thing, which is the next step. After Mahathir, Anwar will be the Prime Minister. I think it's very important to remind the leaders as well as our rank and file that the objective of the parties, that it is not, the party don't come to the end as soon as Anwar become Prime Minister. In fact, that was when we have to start our work. And the party is a reformist party. And that's why I think it is important to remind the leaders that, to remember why people support us, to remember the missions that we carry for the historical moment. And it is not enough just to say, Anwar to be Prime Minister, but we have to say what would happen after Anwar to become Prime Minister. And the party also has to go beyond Anwar Ibrahim and continue to struggle for the peoples, that if we want to make ourselves relevant in the future of this country.
Okay. So speaking of that, when I heard that speech also, it really was evident that you are someone who has a vision for the country. You have your own hopes for the country. But maybe I should ask this later, but I want to ask it now before we get into the political stuff. What does Reform Malaysia look through your eyes?
I think reform is responding to the real situation at that time, right? We have been independent for almost 60 years. We have seen some successes, but the country can do more than that. Especially when we come to political freedom, especially when we come to how do we allow people to make choices in politics. We have been virtually a one-party state since independence. The power is monopolized by a same group of people for almost half a century, more than half a century.
Yes.
So I think this is the first step to create a conducive situation where powers is decentralized and different political party will be given a chance to perform and to seek mandate from the people. I think that's a very, very first thing we can do. Definitely there are other details. You know, people want this, you want to have a better welfare, people want to have a more efficient public transport system. That all these things will come through political competition, through criticizing one another, through trying to rotate power. And, those are process that will come about. At that time, at the moment of Reformasi, the most important thing is to break the monopoly of power, right? So we will do anything to make sure that the party that have concentrated its power for the last half a century must be broken and allow other party to enter. Okay,
understand. Thank you. Now I want to go to your experience now into politics, your journey. Now, if you look at, by the way, guys, visit Tian Chua's Instagram called Tian Chua 1963. You can check out all his amazing photos. It looks like a compilation of the A-list celebrity politicians you have. You have so many amazing characters. So I was thinking, let's have a bit of fun. Why don't you please give us your inside scoop on some of these names that I mentioned? Okay?
Yeah.
Firstly, the Princess of Reformasi herself, YB Nurul Izzah.
No, I think she started thrown into politics at young age. She became the symbol. She's representing almost the spokesperson for the father when dad is in prison, and she did well. She managed to defeat ministers 3 times in Lembang Pantai. So she managed to capture the imagination of the Reformasi generation.
Yes, she did. Next up, Minister of Communications, YB Fahmi Fadzil.
He's a friend. I mean, I know him actually when he was still a student. We did some art show together. And definitely he has a big task to carry out. I can understand that he's facing various attacks from all quarters. And for me, that's quite natural. When you open out, you allow freedoms, and then you have to face that sort of criticism and face a lot of rightly or wrongly attack from all sides. I hope he will be able to cope with it and continue to ensure that the public will have the freedom to express themselves.
Okay. Once PKR Vice President, a controversial man, and Surendran.
Well, I don't think Surendran is very controversial. I think Surendran has been a very consistent, good lawyer, and has been, you can see in every court case of Anwar Ibrahim, he will be there. He's the first one who will be trying to put aside everything to defend Anwar's case, and he also a very passionate human rights activist. He spoke out for the plights of people who face what is it called, torture in prison, in lockup. He has spoke out for people who the abusers. So I think he's been an important figure in our Reformasis and also in Parliament as very vocal and
very vocal.
Yeah.
He's been, I think, kicked out. I think 3 times. I think suspended as well. He's quite a vocal
very
character.
Persistent.
Very persistent. Ex-PKR Party President and first woman Deputy Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah.
I think the Reformasis movement must acknowledge that this 20 years it's her that built up the party, and she was able to keep the party together, despite a lot of people say, Wan Azizah do not understand politics and she is very new, but she was in the way the one that shaped the entire party and was able to keep the party together, despite we have a very fractured, very colourful debate among ourselves, but she held out well. She held out the party, and I think we cannot but to acknowledge she is the biggest contributor to the whole political change in this country.
Just one point there. Maybe I want to follow up your reply. YB Azmin Ali once recently said he called her as a figurehead, and it was in fact he is the one who was also very big in setting up the party. What do you say to that?
Well, I think we cannot deny the contributions of the whole generation of people. Azmin is a very competent, very what's it called? A person that will go into details to get things done, and he's meticulous, and he's a good leader. And he has been able to not only to perform well and turn Selangor around, as well as he also able to create strength in the party. So I think I'm not denying that he's important, and he's been a very loyal deputy for a long time. But what I meant is Wan Azizah has been the president that able to transform the whole political landscape. I mean, she being seen as a symbol. People see her as someone that carry out the duty without self-interest, without political ambitions, and that's go very well because people will see, this party is led by a strong woman. She has determination, and she's her intention was pure and just to fight for justice. Fight
for justice, exactly. I completely agree with that. Our Economics Minister, YB Rafizi Ramli.
Yeah, I mean, you see, all these characters constitute to make into the whole, what you can say as a tapestry of this, the whole thing about how Reformasi's characters built in. Rafizi's been the what's it called? The striker is
the striker.
Go to the football match thing. Yeah. He's been the one at the forefront. He's critical. He's always been able to bring out issues that controversial and then make people remember. Those issues are important, right? So I think he's been, and then because of that, he also faced various persecution, and that's definitely leave a mark in the whole struggle.
Okay. Sorry, sir. You did mention you mentioned football. So are you a football fan?
No, I don't watch football.
Oh my
actually.
goodness!
Unfortunately,
the only Malaysian.
I watch football only once. Only when we were in World Cup, when we were in Kamunting, and there's no choice. Every night I have to watch football with others. But as a hobby, I don't watch football.
You don't watch football? Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm sorry to disappoint.
No, you're too busy. Too busy.
No. I'm not a sport person.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Our once First Lady of Malaysia, Tun Siti Hasmah.
She's also a character, and she's been very, very, what's it called, loyal, and she's been supporting Mahathir all the while. And she's been also shown to be a very kind person. When I get to know her, her eyesight is very, very poor. I mean, she almost cannot see. She recognizes people through the voice. But if you look at her walking beside her husband, you will not sense that. She always hold herself very well, very composed, very elegant.
Yes.
And I think she's probably one of the exemplary of first ladies.
First ladies.
So I think also a lot of people respect her. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Last two, in my book, one of the greatest prime ministers we've had. In fact, I would go on to say he's the greatest prime minister we've had. Dr. Mahathir.
Well, he's a controversial person. I fought him most of my life. No. I mean, I have to be fair because I
of course.
fought him because he represents a generations of politicians that represent autocratic culture. But I fought him not because of I have anything against him, but I told him in his face that this fight is an agony that he has to go through, and we have to go through. It's a generational thing. We are grown up. We want to be more independent than our forefather figures that have been shaped our future. We want to shape our own future. So we have to disagree with him. But I mean, to be fair also, he's someone that's quite frank. If he disagrees with you, he will say in front of your face, and you have to argue with him. If you're right, then he might concede. If he disagree, he disagree. But we know where we stand, right? So I mean that to me, I like working with people like that.
Okay.
It's very straightforward. I think he has made his mistake, but at the same time, we cannot deny he is someone that have quite far-sighted. He see the future further than many of us, right? He expected, and especially in terms of technology and economy, he's very meticulous. He go into that. Interestingly, maybe some people disagree. I think he is a good administrator, a good economic, what is it called? Strategist, but a poor politician.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So he doesn't spend time thinking about politics. He spent a lot of time thinking about how to make the fastest car, how to make flying cars, how to make fastest rail and all these things. Politically, he's only depends on one thing, holding on to the state power, and he's able to survive because he controls the power. But once he doesn't have the state power, you do not see him have the same strength as he was. So in that sense, I would say that is not good politics, but he is good when he was given power in shaping the economy.
Okay. So the last thing on my list, I think I'm going to approach it a bit different. So when you joined, when you founded PKR in the initial years, since then, in the subsequent years, it kind of seemed that you also became one of the most staunch supporters of Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim.
I mean, I support him because he is the symbols of change.
Okay.
And he also represents a force that challenge, as I said earlier, the monopoly of power. And only through this struggle, we can break this authoritarian system.
Okay.
So, I mean, for that, and as well as my generation of people, we support him for that objective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to today, he's now the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And love him or hate him, you have to admire the fact that he went through over 2 decades of suffering before he came to this position. But now that he's in power, do you think that he's the same man who started the Reformasi movement, or has he just become another politician?
Well, politicians, there's no become another politician. He is a politician. And Anwar started as a politician, and he's still a politician. You see, first of all, we have to understand that when a political figures stand in the public, he or she is what the public hope to see him to be.
Okay.
He is not himself, right?
Okay.
So Anwar's been, as I say, as a symbol and as a force that unite people to challenge the status quo, to challenge the old establishment, right? Anwar has been successful in doing that after 20 years of struggle. Today he's holding power. He's just another prime minister that with all the powers that given in this political system to a prime minister. So he is another prime minister. So, that's what it is. It doesn't matter what happened previously, but now he is the prime minister and he was given the power as any other prime ministers before him. Therefore, I mean, if there's a change, yes, there's a change, because he used to be a symbol of struggle. Today, his responsibility is not to struggle to break the system. His responsibility is how do you change and utilize the power that you have and the system give you to bring about better welfare for the people, to bring about progress for the economy, etc., etc. I mean, if you ask me, I say, okay, maybe if we are kinder, we'll say too early to tell. If we want to be harsh, then we can say, the pace is not fast enough. I think both are right? Being someone who is more activist-oriented, the radicals will always say that the pace is too slow, right? Someone who take a historical perspective will say, let's change doesn't come overnight. Both are correct. But if I were to be more active, or other people who are very active in politics, will take a more critical and more radical position. That's because this is where you push politicians to do things, right? I mean, I won't blame them for doing that, because everyone, especially your opponent, especially people who are not from your party or from your coalition, will be very critical. And that critical attitude is where you drive democracy ahead, right? So at the same time, those people who hold power must also understand that, yes, people will be critical, but you must know what you're doing, because you must be able to analyze what is the step to achieve certain thing, and to be able to tolerate attacks from people, to be able to what's it called, to be very relaxed about things that people say may be unfounded. But as long as you hold to your objective, it's okay. I mean, even if it's slow. Yeah.
Speaking of which, talking about holding on to your objectives, and now in situation now, we have seen the recent Merdeka Center polls. they have shown a decline in support for PH and especially the Prime Minister. 60% of people are not happy with the way the country is heading. And in the last PRN, to be honest, I feel that even myself as a voter, I was shocked when I heard the rhetoric that PH was spewing. They were sort of cautioning people against the bleak future if PN came into power kind of thing. Very kiddish, one could argue. What are the mistakes that you think PH has done over the past 1 year that has caused this drop in support?
I won't say it's a mistake. I think first of all, in any populist figures, you will see after the hype of high hope, then it will be down, right? If you look at Obama, how strong it is, right? Within a year, his supports dropped by half, right? Same as Jokowi and all others. So I'm not so concerned about whether this is a mistake, right? But the difference in our situation is right from beginning, on the time that Anwar was appointed Prime Minister, there was no high popularity for PH.
Yes.
So it's a very different situation. Yes. I mean, if you talk about you have high popularity, then you drop, right? PH was do not enjoy even probably about 1/3 slightly more than 1/3 of the popular support. The other 1/3 go to PN. Barisan Nasional got about some, and it's only with the combination of Barisan Nasional and PH you got the majority.
Yes.
Right. So in that situations, you're not going to please anybody, right? The original supporter of Barisan Nasional is not going to be very happy, and the original supporter of PH is not going to be very happy. So that's why you will see there will be disappointment from hardcore supporters from both sides, right? Not to mention the people who are opponent to you from PN. So if you look at it, quite naturally, the support is very low, right? So, but that issues should not be the main concern. To me, the main concern is for the next 4 years, how do PH fulfill the change that they want to bring, and to be able to step by step carry out their duties to ensure that people get a better life. There will be more efficient government. There will be a more inclusive societies. And these are the objectives, they are the core things that people are looking for. And as long as PH maintain that program and is willing to meticulously carry out for the next 3 years, I'm not too worried about the rating at the moment, right? So the issues now is, do they have that program? And if they have, I think the issue, the problem now is they have not articulate strong enough so that people know about it and willing to go together towards that objective.
But still on that point, one of the criticisms that have been thrown towards PH is that they seem to have gone against their promises, right? I'll give a few examples. Recently, the People Power Under Attack 2023 report cited an increase in censorship under Prime Minister Anwar's administration, despite his pro-reform pledge, right? Another thing which happened earlier on was he held 2 different portfolios, although he was very against this. Of course, now he has corrected it in the current reshuffle, fair enough. He, instead of emphasizing the usage of English, which is in sync with his liberal outlook, he decided to say, look, let's emphasize the using of the Malay language in the ministries. And recently also I read another article that the Higher Education Ministry has assured that no political party branch will be established in universities. What's happening to the Reformasi promise? Okay,
I think let's separate some of this. Some of what you say, I agree, and some of them I think probably is issues of articulation. I agree that the issues about shrinking of freedom for expression, that's true. I'm not privy to exactly is this because of the instructions or the directive from the people who are in power. But what is this is I would say that there's a lack of there's still today I haven't seen that there is any institutional change to ensure that freedom of expression will be enhanced. That's what I was more concerned. Yes, there's an indicator of this blog site got blocked and someone got questioned by police and all these things. But that one I would say, you see, we live in a post-authoritarian situation, right? We have the government institution, all the law enforcement set it up in it's a very authoritarian way.
Yeah.
I tend to say that there's an autoimmune system. You know, it's that when you get cut, your white blood cell will go and attack those germs without you have to consciously think about it.
Yes.
So today, you know, if you do something which we did in the Reformasi day, the same autoimmune system will go there and camp down now. You know, when I was detained by police, the SB said, look, you know, when you are in power, we'll do this for you.
Okay.
We will arrest the dissident for you. You know, that's what exactly happened. Within this system, there's an autoimmune system. They will protect anyone that defame Prime Minister, they go there first. Anyone who say bad thing about Minister, they'll go there. Because they have built out this system over the years. But that's why, I don't want to fault the leaders at the moment too much. But I want to say that, do you have a plan? How do you create a freer institution? What type of law that we need to change? How do we ensure that all these things, all this nonsense will stop? Right? So this is the part that I think is lacking. But I still want to give them time and benefit of the doubts and say, look, we're waiting for certain bill of freedom of protection, freedom of information bill, or some sort of things that some sort of internal education to allow law enforcement understand that you know, Marxism is not a threat today. You know, I mean, you want to discuss about left history. This is not subversion to the country. I mean, these are all over, right? So, but our autoimmune system still see this as a threat, so they will continue to do it, and. You know, you virtually, I mean, if I assume, you virtually have to call them and say, leave them alone. Right? So, but if you do too much, then they'll start saying, why do you get involved with my operation? So
it's like a situation of it's difficult to drop a bad habit.
Yeah, so it's more than a bad habit because it's institutionalized. Right? So they will have a whole list of these are not allowed. You know, anything to do with MCP is subversion. Anything to do with Jinping, this is wrong. I mean, so they have all these lists in their list, and you can't tell them, hey, don't do your work, right? So that's why I say the institutional reform must continue. And if you want me to fault it, I say I haven't seen it, right? So this is needed in order to solve it. But otherwise, it's going to be like, if I know certain, you know, he's my friend, he's a blogger, he got caught, then I have to call out the minister and say, these are brothers, and please take action on that. But that also doesn't solve the problem, because the problem is structural. So we need to change that.
But just
go back to some of the things that you said about seems to be going back against that. Again, I said, it's exactly, once you take over that power, the same sort of old structure is coming into together with you. And unless you're very conscious about how to change it, and then you drag you into the same pattern, the same political culture. So that is the part that some of us who are much more civil liberty oriented will be very critical to say that why nothing has been done. I think that also means that we have to engage more.
Yeah.
We have to continue to be critical. I'm not defending some of the things that's to me deviation from the agenda of reform, but that at least today, because of the Reformasi, we have opened out a lot of rooms, and this is the time that we use this to critically engage the government and continue to be critical, continue to take a strong stand. And I agree with you. We shouldn't try to demonize the other side to say that the other side is going to be worse. You know, telling the non-Malay that if PN come into power, you will not have your tokong, you will lose your church, you will not going to be able to practice your religion freely, you have no pork to eat. All these things not helpful, because the only thing you want to do this is to justify you don't do any reform.
Yes,
right.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you know, so I mean, today it is fair. Both sides have equal chance of become government.
Okay.
Right. Be it PN or be it PH or Barisan Nasional. So the people should make the same demand to PN as well as PH. Right. Do this for us, we'll vote for you.
Okay.
That's how
it should be,
will behave now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So similarly, I think we also have to warn as well as engage PN to say that you want to be a ruling party, you have to be inclusive. You have to put everyone in, right? Trying to just to win one segment of the society may give you a lot of member of parliament, but that will not be able to bring you to Putrajaya. Right.
Understood.
So that is the voice that we have to say loud and clear to all political parties.
But one of the things that I mentioned earlier, and I just want to touch on this point because of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a youth activist. You were young.
Yeah.
I see the pictures. You were so young in those pictures. But when as a government you say that universities cannot have political party branches, that's a bit ironic to me because it gave us politicians like yourself. It gave us Dr.
I agree. I think the today students are not yet free from this cocoon. But at the same time, my invitation as a student is that freedom don't come by people granting you.
You have to take.
Don't expect. Go back to demand. Go to have strikes. And demand for your freedom, right? So, I mean, you can say that I hustled or I'm trying to instigate, but it's true. It's true. I mean, that's the thing. You know, if you remember, only how long ago, right? Campus in America doesn't have freedom of expression. You know, I go back to a very interesting story.
No, please do share.
Once, I was when we have dinner during a function of Batu, Mahathir was there. And on that day, it happened to be Martin Luther King's birthday.
Okay.
Right? So then I checked. And I told Mahathir, I say, do you know, if Martin Luther King were to be alive, you're older than him.
Okay.
So Mahathir is about 2 years older than Martin Luther King. What does it mean? In the lifetime of the old man, you can see in America, someone talk about freedom, equality, got shot. Today, we want to say America is a land of freedom, equality, and they were championing for human rights. But only then, I mean, you see, it was during that lifetime. Martin witnessed that when the time that Martin Luther King talking about equality, racial equality, he got shot. So that's why the tolerance of this society, the change, was very recent. Right? So we are not that far off from getting there. Yes, I mean, we got some freedom now, but there's a lot more. Right? Student has to rise up, had to demand for what it is. And of course, every parent, despite the parents that have went to demo in the 70s will tell their kids, study. Your priority is to become a doctor. You don't don't behave like daddy and mommy who go on to demonstration. That's all. That, So today I'm not surprised if the current government is not keen to free out the student and to make the student campus chaotic and people are demanding their rights. Definitely, that's not in their interest, right? So it is up to the student today, using the power that they have now, to demand for it. Like if they got arrested by police, if they say why you are demonstrating in the university, we're going to sack you. You just tell them Anwar Ibrahim did that when he was young. Yeah, so that's all you need to do. Then see how the SB interrogate you.
Blame him.
Right? So, yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, the most recent issue has been the reshuffle of the cabinet. And one could say, point that this is potentially a move to bolster confidence, improve the direction of the political, our government towards our future, country's future. What do you think about the additions, the subtractions, the replacements that have happened so far in the cabinet?
I think this is very the prerogative of the Prime Minister, and he has to make the judgment. He has to decide who can perform, who doesn't perform, and because ultimately nobody remember the name of the minister. People would just say under Anwar Ibrahim this happened, right? So he's ultimately responsible for it. And if he need to reshuffle 3 more times, so be it. As long as I said, as long as what the people expect to see a betterment of their life by the end of Anwar's term, right? So this is the main priority. So specifically how each of the ministers suitable or not suitable for their job, I'm too far away from me to comment.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope this reshuffle will be able to put things in order, and also to ensure that the reforms that people expect will be implemented.
Okay, perfect. Now, let's go into the topic of Pakatan Nasional now.
Yeah.
They are the current, the rising power in Malaysia's post-electoral coalition system. Now, firstly, I want to talk about that. Do you think that the post-electoral coalition system is something that serves us better? Or does it just reduce politics into a balancing act between maintaining alliances and, maintaining power?
You mean the current situation, where
you form alliances after post-election?
Okay, the reason why we have a pre-election coalition is because we have a system called first past the post. It means that when you split vote, if in fact the unpopular one can be elected. Right? So if you have a split situation, someone that get 35%, 40% popular support might actually get 2/3 majority.
Okay.
So in order to reduce that, coalitions are formed before election.
Okay.
Right. So that's the reason. But if we change the electoral system to a proportional one, or to what we call preferential one, which is a different topic altogether, we might have a different coalitions culture. So for me, that's the situation. But what I want to raise is whether coalition politics is good or bad.
Yes, that's a good question.
I think I would disagree to say that PN is a rising force. Basically, what we are seeing, that the fragment of political landscape at the moment represent certain constituency, right? That constituency has always been there. The more conservative, the more people who are wary about change may disadvantage the established interest group. They represent one big block in the electoral.
Yes,
they are. There are also people who are more adventurous, who think that the country will be better off if we make itself more open and more progressive in its approach on various issues, and also to be more inclusive for different ethnic group. So that's another group of constituency which has always been there, right? So the balance may be here and there reflected in representation of different power. At the end of the day, if we want to form government, the two segment of the society must sit down and ensure that there is a compromise. Right. So you are not able to convince the conservative one that what they believe is wrong, because there's a lot of issues that's still faced by them. Poverty among the Malay is still quite serious, and the accessibility for them to go into private sector business are still very limited. So they will always hope that the state, the government will provide certain protection. So that we cannot erase, right? Until the day that, there will be a very open system where every segment of society will be able to participate freely. But there's other group who feel that economically we need to move forwards. We cannot be continue to be dragged down by history. So they want to push faster. So this group will always be there, right? So the question now is, as a ruling parties, how do you achieve a balance where you can convince both group that you have the best solution for both? So I think this is currently, there is a lot of suspicion from the PN supporters that the current government will not represent their interests, and in fact will erode the interests that they have, and they continue to be very critical. So in that way, in that sense, I can understand why Anwar and some of the leaders have to constantly repeat the rhetoric of the previous regime, that we are not going to take your right away. We are not going to make you, losing your interest in the current setting.
But
so I can understand that.
I want to just ask that, just sidetrack. It seems to me that would be, I can't wrap my mind around why is it that constituency, and you're of course referring to the larger Malay population. Why can't they accept the fact that, look, no government comes into power is going to remove their rights? Because number one, you'd be shooting yourself in the foot. Because they make the largest electoral base. I wouldn't want to lose their vote.
Okay, I think the what I call the trust is not there. Right. So I think that the trust is not there because also the representation of the Malay population in PH coalition is very weak, right? Virtually, the reason why I would say is that because Malay have lost trust in UMNO.
Oh, of course.
Right. So to them now, who are our representatives there? Right, Keadilan is a multiracial, liberal, progressive party. DAP represent the non-Malay interests. Then you have a weak party that supposedly, for the last 60 years, they're supposed to be represent the Malay interests, but they have lost the trust.
You are referring to Amanah?
No, I'm referring to UMNO.
UMNO, okay.
Right. So,
BN,
so they have lost that at the moment. I mean, it takes time. Maybe I'm not saying prejudge them, they cannot come back. But currently, as it stands, why do 2018 people vote against UMNO? Because they don't think that they represent not only the non-Malay interests, they also don't represent the Malay interests anymore. So with this coalition, currently there's a lot of suspicion that is UMNO going to defend our interests, or are they going to, just like previously, they only take care of themselves? So that's why part of the reason why these things happen. No, I'm not saying that they are right or wrong, but this is how it is, right? So in the larger conservative Malay eyes, where is the credible Malay leaders that will represent us? Okay, you can say Anwar Ibrahim, but then Anwar has to balance the interests of all the various parties. So in their mind, this will erode our rights. You see, you are now have to reduce it to share with all these different, more vocal political parties that will demand their right. But so this is why PN picked it out and said, look, we are going to be the one that.
So in that step that you mentioned, there's a quite interesting point you bring up. So now you are saying that there is sort of like a vacant Malay, there is a vacant position for the representative of the Malay community, which PN has gone in very strongly, right? But do you think that their race-based, religious-based rhetoric is very dangerous for the country? Even recently, we saw their recent party member, I forget his name, Wan something, he's the youth leader, if I'm not mistaken, Bersatu. He talked about how we should amend the constitution to only allow the Prime Minister to be Malay.
Yeah.
Aren't these very dangerous rhetoric?
I think, I would say this is an unnecessary and unbecoming debate, right? So I want to specifically talk about amending the constitution to only limit Malay. Actually, they have to understand, doing that is to limit the power Agong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to start thinking like that. You see, Agong have absolute power deciding who enjoy the majority, and therefore Agong can appoint them. Once you say only Malay, then Agong doesn't have power to appoint anyone he wants. Right? You are limiting the power of a Malay symbol, which is the Agong. No one else, politician, can say they represent the Malay. Absolutely. No. Even if you contest in Kota Baru, there are some Chinese voters there. Right? Are you saying that you purely only represent the interests of Malay? No.
Okay.
You have to take care of your voters, right?
Well. Yeah.
And are you going to run the government with no interest from any other group? No. Right? The only one that can ensure purely the Malay interests, where our constitution says, is the Agong. Agong is the representative of the Malay power in this country. Right?
Okay.
So he's holding that. Now you're limiting his power. You say, you can only elect, you can only choose a certain people, but not the other people. So you have to think about that. Also is a challenge. A lot of people in their populist thing, they forget about why our constitution is drafted that way. Right? So this is wrong. To me, that's wrong, not because non-Malay want to be Prime Minister. But you are now saying that, you see, even when you go to Perak or you go to other who say Malay, but with the discretion of the Sultan.
Okay.
They can vote, they can put a mama in, they can put someone who they think representing their interests. Okay. Right? So this is why I think it is important that we don't drag into this populist talk. But unfortunately, we are doing a lot of shouting game. How do you overcome that? So for me, the responsibility is those people who hold power, how to mitigate that by not polarizing the debate. Okay, yes, true. The opposition also has a responsibility. The public also has a responsibility to reprimand people who speak out of line. But at the same time, I think it is quite important that why I would say, beside the coalition, the government in a mature democracy must always consistently engage the opposition so that the viewpoint of the opposition are included. Why is it that in most mature democracy, you always have a bipartisan agreement? Because when you face threat externally or internally, you always have to go to your opposition and say, I want to make this law. It's not going to be popular, but both of us have to agree, right? So in order to make sure that the Malay or the voters of PN doesn't feel that they're being left out, I think government has to actively engage. What's wrong with the Prime Minister call in the opposition leaders to say, look, we're going to pass this law, right? Your constituent might be having problem. Why not you all study and come back to us and say, what is your objection on that? So things like that, it will be able to pass through easier. So that's why I say, if we want to do reform, yes, there's a lot of things that opposition oppose and they are very strong, and we want to avoid getting a situation that erode more PH support. Why not we have a full consultation with the opposition, and what can be commonly agreed, we implement first.
Okay.
Which happened in 2018, where we want to move the Undi 18. We got 2/3 majority support.
Okay.
Why? Because we asked the opposition. The opposition say, yes, we will support it if you put automatic registration in.
Okay.
And then it's a good thing. I mean, I think, okay, some people regret, shouldn't give the young people vote. But still, I still think that we have an automatic voter system, which we Bersih have been fighting for, Undi 18. So we had, which is a progress. So I think we can do it, right? In the history, we can do it. So we should encourage both sides to have dialogue and to approve things that both agree, right? This confidence building measure must start if we want to seriously reform. So then how do you to confine? Because once both sides has certain consensus, you don't go out and say, this one, you sell out the Malay, because you were part of it. You were part of the discussion. Okay. So that's why I said, can be done, right? Okay. So, yes, we can blame them forever to say you're extremists, therefore I will consolidate my supporter from non-Malay. But that's not good for the nation, right? No. On the other side also, if you continue to shout like this, you'll never come to power, right? You will be a strong, destabilizing force, but you'll never be about to be running the government. So, and that's also not a healthy situation. And I believe some of the PN leaders also understand that. Maybe for the sake of votes, they will go and shout to get it. That is not confined to them, because PH also do the same thing. Yeah. So, but I think for us to mature in democracy, bipartisan discussion is one of the important steps forward.
Okay, sir. Fantastic. Now, you mentioned a very important name in Malaysia's political arena, UMNO. Recently, of course, they were once the great behemoth of Malaysian politics. Yeah. But of course, in recent years, they have dwindled. Some even calling them the lackey of DAP. Recently, there was a high-profile firing as well. There have been firings of other members, suspensions and all that. Yeah. What do you think the future holds for UMNO?
I think the future of any party is in the hand of their members themselves. Okay. Right? I mean, I know Zahid well, and he's quite a smart leader, and he's able to maneuver for UMNO to continue survive. Unfortunately, because of the 1MDB scandal, that people just don't have trust in UMNO anymore. For UMNO to re-emerge, it requires a lot of efforts. He has to convince the people. But then the space that originally occupied by UMNO has been taken over by Bersatu and PAS. Right? UMNO cannot go back to want to claim that space anymore. Okay. Right? UMNO has to show to be they are the more moderate and progressive one. Because that space is gone already. The old UMNO that occupied the conservative, the one that hold the line, the Malay rights cannot be removed type of, that space been taken over already. So you cannot go back trying to squeeze in, because you're trying to squeeze in also nobody trusts you. Okay. Right? You have to be the different type of constituency, which is a growing population. UMNO that's middle class. UMNO that's been exposed to the business world. Malay that have been continuously expanding into the international arena in trades and the other thing, and also urbanite, working class. These are untapped constituents that maybe UMNO has to start building the base in those areas.
But do you think that maybe why UMNO has not done that is because that's not the majority of the Malay population?
It's not true, because I'm saying that they are actually growing. Okay. Right? So if you look at carefully, actually there are more Malay in urban area than rural area now. Okay. Right? So more Malay are living in town, maybe semi-urban, but there are more and more. I think the education rate, they're going to university a lot more than people who only have secondary school.
Okay.
More and more Malay are engaged in small business and workers rather than pertanian, rather than agriculture. Felda is minority now. I mean, I don't think a lot of Malays are in Felda. So you're seeing this, the growing new Malays are emerging, right? And again, there's a lack of understanding of their needs.
Okay.
Their needs is much more economical oriented. They want to get a decent job. They want to see better education. They want a better future for their children. And I think the new leadership of UMNO has to start thinking, how do they reorient their old rhetoric into representing this new group of Malay.
Okay, right. So they have to really shift their marketing plan then, their target audience.
In the ways, there's a good potential, right? Again, if they don't do, I believe that Pakatan Nasional will sense it and they will also come in. So there's a competition now, which is a good thing. I mean, in the way now, people are competing to get different.
You have to agree. I mean, you come from a social activist background. You come from the left side. You must agree that PN should mute or at least bring down their racial rhetoric.
I think this has to go through engagement, right? If you push them to the in any radicalization, when you push people to the brink, they will take a strong rhetoric, right? Okay. So I mean, to sidetrack a little bit, that people blame Hamas. You push the Palestinian to the corner, of course they're going to take back radical position. They will take a non-compromising position, right? So the only way is that those people who hold power must be able to draw them out and engage them, right? You don't expect when you push somebody, they will suddenly say, wow, we are now toned down, we are moderate and all things, because they don't have that constituents. The constituency they represent are the one who feel most insecure, right? So how do you build that? I mean, in peace negotiation, we say confidence building. You have to start building out confidence on both sides.
Okay, now on that note, recently Tun Mahathir came up with a statement. He said that he warned UMNO that they have to leave DAP and continue their fight for Malays in order to not risk being wiped out in G16. So speaking of which, I want to ask you, do you think Pakatan Nasional will take over Putrajaya in the coming G16?
Okay, I think to think about we can have a government without DAP or without any strong Chinese component or Indian component is a fallacy for any political party. So I won't be surprised. I mean, Pakatan Nasional, if they want to come to power, they will compromise with party like DAPs and others, or even PKR, and to form coalition, and anything is possible, right? So as the coalition as it is now, as we can see, they might, even the next election, they might win extra 10-20% of the seats, but still not enough to form government unless they are willing to open out the door to make coalition with either PKR or Sabah Sarawak, the non-Muslim party, and or DAP. So that is a political reality, right? So I would not discount that also, and I think,
that could happen?
being a real politician, I'm sure PN leaders will be flexible enough to accept that. I mean, it's not that they had never cooperated before.
Yes, they have.
PAS has cooperated with DAP. Bersatu has cooperated with DAP. I didn't see a major clash when they were together. So whatever rhetoric they have, whatever hostility that they display today, in the future it might be different. And also everyone have a good exit point, because I think the next election, it'll be a younger generation of leaders taking over from PAS, taking over from Bersatu, taking over from DAP as well as PKR. So they can always say, we won't inherit the quarrel of our parents.
We will do it our own way.
We'll do it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to your party. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're rushing as well.
No. I'm okay. Yeah.
Now, currently PKR, there are some rumblings. Dato Sri Saifuddin, he spoke about discontent among grassroots members towards the executive leadership.
Right.
PMX has also mentioned that he's meeting party members to address some questions of discontent there. Now, from the outside looking in, what is your thoughts of the direction of your party? Your party?
That one I'm not sure. I really do not know which is the direction. The party now is in power. It has to do a lot of adjustment in order not to deviate from the idealism of the party. At the same time, had to understand the tools and the instrument in the hand is very different now, right? Okay. Previously, we don't have those structure. We do not have state government. We do not have federal government institution. The only thing we have is our people go to the street to fight and to demand and to shout. Reformasi is something, just a slogan, right? When we shout in our mass mobilization. Today, Reformasi is something that people want to know, is it part of your agenda for change, right? So, and then the instrument is in front of you, right? You have all the different institutions. So the challenge is big. And at the same time, how do you carry the members along to do that? When we say grassroots, it can be very vague, because grassroots can be also means that those new members that join in now, they are unhappy because they don't get position. There can also be the people who started all the way and were fighting for idealism, and they don't find that they have been given enough role to play to push for reform. So there are two different types of grassroots. I mean, I cannot just generalize to say that actually you must listen to the grassroots. But at the same time, the key issues now is the leadership now. How do you accommodate this voice of idealism to make sure that keadilan doesn't get sucked into the whole jungle of power, and then get dragged into all the different direction where we lost ourselves as a reforms movement. So I think this is the key now for PKR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, sir, speaking of PKR, one thing that I also noticed was I saw that horrific video of the way you were treated. It was hard for me to watch. You being such a long-standing member, you're the vice president, you're the founder, you fought for them, and bottles were thrown at you, you were called a pengkhianat. I mean, sir, why do you want to join back this party? Why not go out and form your own?
No, I'm not saying that I wanted to join back this party, but what I say is that I don't apologize for what I have done, and I'll continue to stand by it, and I don't regret that I took those stands, and if there is any opportunity, I'll do it again. The future, it's as I said before, there is a certain constituents which PKR currently represent. Those people who want change, those people who want to see more open society, those people who want to see a freer society and better social welfare for all. Those constituents is still there. If PKR deviate too far from that, I believe that there will be a new movement to replace PKR. That's a way. I mean, whether I have the energy to do it, that's a separate issue. I mean, I do not know. But the whole thing has been opened up, right? There are people who want to see change. There are people who want to. So currently, I think they still want to give hope to PH to continue the journey for change. But if 10 years from now, nothing happened, so that will change. That's a new party will emerge, or a new movement will emerge, and that will represent this group of people. As I said, same time, you can't hope that the conservative constituent will go away, right? Whether it's UMNO or PAS or someone else will represent them, right? If it's not any of this party, if any of this party got discredited, a new one will come out. Yeah. So, in a political reality, it's going to be always this left and right two-line conflict, at the same time compromise, at the same time moving forwards.
Okay.
So that will be continue. For me, I will take the progressive part, but at the same time be mindful that they are also conservative people, and we need to accommodate them and need to make sure that they don't feel they will be threatened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this conversation. I wish we had more time. I love talking to you. I mean, you are a legend, so of course I would love to keep talking to you. What is your future, sir, in your political journey?
I come into this struggle as an activist. I want to see change in this country. I will continue to do this. I will continue to speak out, and in form of writings, in form of speech. At the same time, I believe that there's a lot of grassroots activism that need to be encouraged, right? Lately, of course, I'm quite involved with the Palestinian issues. I think that solidarity for international struggle is important. Just like when we were oppressed, there's a lot of international solidarity. So we have the responsibility to support others when others are suffering. I'm also involved in various form of discussion group about how do we create a more sustainable economy and more friendly to climates, and also more socialistic in terms of distribution of wealth. All these things I'm continuing to do. Maybe compared to this very high-profile situation during Reformasi, looked at as if like it was a bit more subdued. But when times needed, then we will take the drastic action.
Okay. I wish you all the best. I just want to say that, this has been a real honor. You are really one of the legends of our political story. And it's a blessing. I really look at this as a blessing for that you coming on. I really thank you. Yeah. But before we go, to those of y'all, Mr. YB Tian Chua has written his book, Lakaran Jiwa Merdeka, Catatan dari Penjara Kajang. Sir, maybe you want to describe this book. What is the inspiration behind it?
Well, this is a book that is basically the notes that I had during my detention, 1 month detention in Kajang prison.
Okay.
So it includes some of my notes, my drawing, and also my conversation with people in prison. Some of them are wardens, some of the people are the other fellow inmates, and it is a reflection, right? So it's in Malay, and there's also a Chinese version. You can get it from Mentor. Mentor is my publisher. You can check online and get it online.
I will.
All right. And some of the independent bookshop might have it. So just watch out for it. Yeah.
Will do. Thank you so much. And do I get a free copy? A signed copy?
Yes. Sure. You will get it.
So, guys, this is YB Tian Chua's book, Lakaran Jiwa Merdeka. We'll be sharing the links on the video post to the Mentor platform for you to get these books. This has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really has been an honor to God. It's been an honor.
Yeah.
For those of you watching, thank you so much. We'll be sharing the first video drops on 17 December on the Good Card Show's YouTube and TikTok channels. Please share your comments. And you know what? Man, this was an amazing conversation. I left out a lot of questions. I wish I could, but never mind. Next one.
Well, okay.
Next one.
Always. It was a pleasure to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. All the best to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.
Good night. See you.
Okay.